Hmm. Okay, so now it says you're going to be live streamed now. All right, here we go.
Hello, Miss Francie. It's so nice to
Wait.
meet you.
Yep. Okay.
Hello, Miss Francie. It's so nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you as well, Cheyenne. Thank
Okay, so
you.
now
Now it says you're going to be live streamed now.
So tell us a little bit about yourself before we get this interview question started.
So basically, I am a licensed mental health counselor for the state of New York. I first started off counseling in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to Mercer University, which I really love that university. And I, was at first going to do my licensure for Georgia. So that particular exam helped me to pass for that licensing state board. But then I moved to New York and I realized that I probably was not going to go back to Georgia. So I took another exam for New York. And so I am licensed since 2018 in the state of New York. And now I'm looking to also expand to Florida, Maryland, and California.
Okay, wow, that's really impressive.
Thank you.
I'm so
And
glad.
and I'm sorry. And I forgot to tell you, I am currently doing my EDD program in Christian counseling and trauma.
Okay, wow. That's so exciting.
It is exciting.
How do you like it so far?
I actually really like it. I work with clients. It's so funny because you're able to put things, implement what you're learning right away because I do work with populations,
Hmm.
different diverse populations of clients. And a lot of the things that I'm learning, it's wonderful because I kind of get to go a little bit deeper past the master's level and get to also implement some of the things I'm learning right away.
Wow, okay. So let's get started into the interview question.
Absolutely, I'm ready.
Okay, so our first question is, how does race consciousness affect your work? Do you see yourself as a leader who advances issues of race or society or both? And is there a distinction? Is there such thing as a race transcending leader?
So, wow, that's a loaded question. So, do I see myself as a transformational leader? I actually do.
Mhm.
And that kind of helped me when I went to Atlanta, Georgia. I was born and raised in New York City, with, family from, Central America, Caribbean type background. So when you're growing up in New York, even though New York is such a diverse group of people,
Mhm.
the diversity is really, really wide. We're still very segregated. So there is a disparity of who's in certain leadership positions in certain organizations. It's just what
Right.
it is. So going to Atlanta, Georgia, kind of learned to, and even though I went to an HBCU for a little while, which was wonderful because you kind of get to see another side of yourself and take pride
Mhm.
into your educational system, especially in the undergrad years, is so important to identify with who you are and take that type of pride in yourself,
Mhm.
especially as a Black woman, and see leaders, seeing other teachers and professors and deans and Black people in great positions that are actually doing well for themselves. But when I really moved to Atlanta, it kind of changed the game a little bit even more for me. I saw a lot more um, individuals in higher ranking positions,
Mhm.
um, being leaders in the community. And it actually inspired me more to want to replicate that. So, which is the reason why I decided to go do a doctorate degree because I want to teach
Mhm.
other individuals, especially Black leaders, up and coming leaders, on you can be in positions of leadership and you shouldn't limit yourself. I did also work at an organization, a Black owned organization. It was very lucrative business, $1 million business, and it was began by a Black man and ran by Black people in the state of New York. And being in that position also opened up my palette again to say, wow, we really can achieve. And also In that position, I was actually in a director leadership position for the organization, and teaching other people and taking pride in the organization is very important, which I don't see a lot of folks do today. A lot of people, they take a job and they just treat it like a job. No, this is actually your stepping stone to go into the next assignment or role that God is going to take you to. So really taking a job and taking a position comes with responsibility, and you're there to learn.
Right.
So once you learn, you take that and you build upon that and you teach someone. And that's very important for me too, as a Black woman to another up and coming Black woman, to give you as much support that you need so that you can be successful is very important to me, because what will happen if no one is there to help us? So also, I have to be very also transparent. A lot of people who have helped me along the way have been also Caucasians.
Yeah.
A lot of Caucasian people have really, really supported me in my professional career and also in my educational career. And I really owe a lot to some of my counterparts and colleagues who supported me and really pushed me more than even sometimes my own. So I think that when you're looking at an individual with education and your professional career goals, don't only limit yourself to one race of people, because sometimes people who you don't even think is going to help you will help you.
Right. Yes, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. I can also attest that I also had a lot of Caucasian people help me along my way in my career field as well. So I could definitely understand.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and it's and you can feel comfortable and feel good as long as you know who you are and you're comfortable in your skin.
That's
And you look at from a Christian perspective, I just look at people more equally. Not to say that no, I don't see race, that would be lying to you.
right.
And but at the same time, you're a human being, like just like I am, and I want to help you and I want you to help me, and that's how we're all going to live, and try to be equals in the future.
Right. Okay. So now we are moving on to the next question. And
Yes,
our next
ma'am.
question is, do you have a different leadership style when you deal with groups that are all Black, or that are Black, mixed race, or all white?
Actually, I don't. I'm myself all the time. I don't feel that I need to be a chameleon around just one sector of people. And no, again, I like to be true to myself and I like to be transparent. What you see is what you get.
Right.
It doesn't matter what race I'm dealing with or who I'm dealing with. This is me. Now when I'm with my family, that's a whole different story, right? But when it's professional, you should be professional all the time. You're always I think of things like being always in front of a camera or always on a spotlight. You never know who's in front of you. You should be who you are and comfortable to be who you are all the time, no matter who you're in front of.
I agree.
And especially as a Christian woman, I want to make sure that I'm mirroring Christ first. So that's most important than anything else.
I agree. I totally agree. Okay, this next question is kind of lengthy.
No problem.
So, in the challenging of the civil rights establishment, the authors quote William Allen, who writes a danger in continually thinking in terms of race or gender until we learn once again to use the language of American freedom in an appropriate way that embraces all of us. We're going to continue to harm this country. Conti and Stenson, 45. Is there a danger of further diverseness when we focus on the concept of Black leadership?
Huh. Is there a danger? Again, it depends, right? So when I look at things from again, a biblical perspective, right? So diversity, cultural diversity for me at one time was embracing different cultures, people who come to our country and want to fit in and assimilate into our culture, right? So we want to learn a little bit about other people's cultures, right? Which is fine. Then you have different religions, right? Because this is America, the land of the free, right? But sometimes too much freedom, what happens, right? Chaos.
Yeah.
So I think that how do you I think it the when you look at that question, when I look at that question, I think about diversity as respect,
Mm.
respecting individuality. You have the right to be whatever human you want to be. That is your choice. And I respect your choice as an individual. Now, that doesn't mean that I may accept all of your behaviors. I may accept all of your mindsets. Or I may accept all of your thoughts or cognitions, whatever. That doesn't mean I do that. But I respect you and the choices that you make as an individual. So I think as far as freedom and cultural diversity is learning how to respect people's autonomy, learning how to intentionally respect people's choices that they make, and live the lives that they want to live. That's not my right to tell you who to be, right? I help you work through whatever it is that you want to work through, but I don't feel that it's okay to take away freedoms of choice for people.
I agree. I really agree. Wow.
I'm glad you agree.
It's just very insightful. Okay. Our next question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel that Black leaders have an obligation to help other African Americans? Is there a point at which that obligations end and one can pursue his or her own professional ambitions?
Absolutely. I think as every single Black professional should be a mentor to another Black person coming up in the field. And what that means to me is making yourself available, showing them again, modeling professionalism, modeling the support, and also letting them know that, hey, you don't have to be thinking about competition all the time. Because a lot of people, I believe, they don't like to mentor up and coming professionals behind them because of fear or insecurity. But if you are a sound professional and you know that you're going to be able to have a complete discipline continue on, you have to be able to be ready to pass that torch on to someone else. And you also have to understand that you're the next student that you have, or the next professional or supervisee that you have, is only as good as the boss that they have. So it is your responsibility as an African American leader to take someone under your wing and try to mentor them so that they learn how to the importance of entrepreneurism in your community. You need to know what it's like to be a citizen in your community, and also someone who's a part of the community. When you have this disparity or this disconnect, you have so much issues that you see going on today. So how do we have respect? Remember, we talked about respect and cultural diversity earlier. How are you able to pass that respect for cultural diversity and change, and also embrace change, because you can also learn a lot from the newcomers, right? The new generations coming in. So it's very important for you as a Black leader to make sure that you definitely take on the responsibility of educating other Black leaders coming up in the world.
All right. I definitely agree with you. I think it's very important, including with like not separating competition from helpfulness, because a lot of times people are like, oh no, because if I bring up this person, they're gonna end up passing me, and then
Right.
it's just gonna be a whole going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, when it should really just be focusing on building up the next generation to take over.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, they're going to be the ones in charge
Absolutely.
for the rest of your life. So I definitely agree.
Absolutely. And if you're scared for someone to pass you in your professional career, then you need to really take a look at, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing that I am not living to my fullest potential? Because remember, we just talked about a little bit earlier, everybody has their own, so you have your own destiny, right? And I have my own destiny. Remember, I talked about each job is a stepping stone to the next job.
Yes.
So most likely, especially in the generations today, a lot of people don't stay in positions more than 3 to 4 years, right? That's what I've been seeing. That's a current trend that we see, right? And chances are they need to soak up as much information. And sometimes, yeah, they may have to be challenging times, but if you're not being challenged to push your own self, then are you really learning? Are you really successful? Are you really being ambitious, or are you just being content with your situation, and then you get mad when you see someone else? That's the definition of envy and jealousy that, again, as Christians, we shouldn't be modeling. We want to make sure that we're pushing folks to be our best selves.
Right.
Look at our forefathers that helped to build this country before. If they thought about if they thought about just being selfish or keeping information to themselves and not wanting to share that knowledge, what we have right now, the traffic light, where we have telephones, where we have anything, right? So everything builds on something. So we have to know that we have to share information, and that's how you learn. And that, don't be scared, don't be fearful. Take on that challenge and share the information and push each other to be better people, especially as professionals.
I agree. Okay, so our next question is,
yes.
What do you see as your greatest contribution?
Contribution?
Yes, what do you see as your greatest contribution as an African American leader?
My greatest attribution being a leader in my field is always being present and always modeling professionalism. And also wanting to teach. That is the biggest contribution that I can do, which is why I am making sacrifices right now to get educated, to do a doctorate degree, because I see the importance of making sure that my field and our presence continues. So once I get the experience and of course get my degree, I want to continue in my private practice, work with different companies, consult, and also be a supervisor for people who are new coming out the field, who need to get counseling hours to get their licensures, but definitely to teach. That is the hugest and the best contribution that I can do in my field.
Okay. Love to hear it. Okay, so our next question is, in his book, Race Matters, Cornel West writes, "The crisis of leadership is a symptom of Black distance from a vibrant tradition of resistance, from a vital community bonded by ethical ideas, and from a credible sense of political struggle. Do you see a crisis of leadership in Black communities today? If so, what contributes to this? What contributes?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Actually, I do. So in the state of New York, where I actually come from, I look at a lot of the Black leadership that we have.
Right.
And it could be quite disheartening at times, because you get to see when we are in positions and we do not do what is right, right? Or we look at a buddy system, or we look at nepotism, or we look at people who are put into positions that have not worked through the ranks to get the position, but they got it because they know someone. That could be very disheartening and also distasteful for someone who probably has been in the field working very hard. So I believe in hard work, and getting your seat at the table because you deserve it, not because you're given it. You have to earn it. And I think that when we move away from that, we look at um, we look at positions of leadership as curses and not blessings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I really I really enjoyed that answer. Okay.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So our next question is, what
Mhm.
kind of leaders do contemporary society demand? How will future problems demand different leadership styles?
I think our change is inevitable.
Mhm.
So who we were yesterday is not who we are today. So we have to have people who are able to change with the trend. So your mindset has to be able to change. You have to have somebody with flexibility and fluidity. If you don't, and you have just rigid people in positions of leadership, then you're not changing with the time.
Right.
Or you're not being able to reach the masses or the youth of tomorrow. You have to be able to identify with the people who you're going to lead. If you don't, and there's a disconnect, then I don't even want you to lead me.
Right.
I'm not listening to you. So then you get all of the pushback, and you get all of the resistance, right? So in order for us to really work together, we have to be able to connect. So
Right.
that is really, really crucial and important for leaders of tomorrow.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. And next question. As a society, how can we foster the most effective leaders for the future?
Education, and also especially for our Black youth, to go to HBCUs. That is crucial. It's crucial for our existence. It's crucial for our education. It's crucial for us to learn and push each other in our educational institutions, because tomorrow we have to be able to be just as competitive, which we are today. If we didn't, if the first, you know what I mean? If we didn't continue to have all these different HBCUs across our country, where
Right.
would we be? How would we get the education that we know? I'm not saying that we cannot go to non-HBCU educational institutions, because I did, right? And I'm able to still be able to be successful in my career. But I just think that there's more of a sense of pride and a more sense of accomplishment when it's done through that channel. So
Okay.
I think that it's really important to do that.
Okay. Side question, because I'm very curious. If
Yes.
you could do it all over again, which HBCU would have chose and why?
The HBCU that I did go to was Edward Waters College in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
So I started college at 16, and I got homesick. So I kind of got really, really homesick. So I don't think I was mature enough at that time to handle that. So I kind of went back to New York. But if I had to do it all over again, I would still go back to that same HBCU, Edward Waters College, Jacksonville, Florida. And the reason why it's EWC was it made me who I am still today. My experiences, I wouldn't have chosen any other one. That's the one that has accepted me, and that's the one where I believe that God wanted me to be. So you can get accepted to a whole bunch of colleges, but when you go to a college and you choose one, I believe that it's divinely inspired for you to go there and experience. That's your road, that's your destiny. That's where you need to be. So I think that if any individual gets accepted to an HBCU, I think that they should go, make the sacrifices, because tomorrow it would be beneficial to you in the future.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then these last two questions is ones
Yeah.
that I come up with. So, first question.
Mhm.
Is it difficult being a Black female leader in your field for you to face with, are you faced with different stereotypes?
Actually, I don't think so.
Okay.
I would have to tell you no. I think it's more receptive for
Mm.
me as a Black female in the position that I am in as a psychotherapist. It's so funny because majority of my clients are Caucasian and Asian.
Oh, okay.
And they embrace me more than African Americans would.
Hmm.
And it's so much more common for us to have this presence of support and safety for a lot of people. So I think that that kind of falls in line. A lot of people, especially like even in the state of New York, have grown up with like Black people always around them, definitely, but a lot of Black nannies and talking to Black people. So I don't think that, and again, that's because New York, even though we're segregated, we're still one melting pot. We still will go to the same schools, we still will go to the same churches or whatever. So there is still a whole lot of interaction and respect. And I think that that respect quality is huge. So if someone is coming to me, they're going to get my respect and I'm going to earn their respect as well. We're going to have a rapport. So I think that that's what makes it much more easier versus someone in a human resources position or someone in a business position. I don't really have to prove myself because you're really coming to me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Okay, that's different.
Very different.
Very. Wow. I actually really love that. Okay, so my last question for you
Uh-huh.
is, have you changed yourself to make social change when it comes to mental health of African Americans?
So break that question down to me a little bit more.
Um, so do you have to like put yourself in a different mindset when dealing with certain patients? Where it like say if you had a Caucasian patient, right, you had to put your mindset in like a different one to fit theirs, and then separate from like when you have a patient that's African American and you have a mindset for them. Like, does the mindset switch or you have to change it?
I like that question. And you know what? I really appreciate that question because earlier in my college education and when earlier in my master's degree, I was actually really anxious about that.
Mhm.
Um, I was really, really anxious about that. Like, would somebody want to come to a Black girl from Brooklyn for counseling, right? And then how about, can am I speaking correctly? Can I articulate my words? Do I have the correct diction? Do I sound intelligent? Do I feel intelligent? And during supervision with, I never forgot him, Dr. Williams, such a teddy bear, white man, white old gentleman, my old professor. He was so direct and he was so upfront and he would talk about these questions in our classes. So it's not something that we don't discuss. We talk about culture. That's actually one of our core courses is
Oh,
culture. Uh-huh. We really have to. And what I liked about my program at Mercer again was you had to go through counseling yourself in order to, while you're in the program. So that made it more even more experiential for us because you were actually in it. You knew what it was like to feel like it, and also what someone would be experiencing talking to you about,
mhm.
um, how you would feel being in that seat. But no, I don't have to shift my mindset because there's a white person in front of me, or an Asian person in front of me, or a Black person in front of me. You're gonna get Kim, and Kim is Kim, no matter where she is, and I bring my true self. So
Right.
that's another thing. I bring who I am. I'm not trying to be anyone else, even though I really like Ayanna Van Zant, but I'm not trying to be her at all. I have to be myself, because that's who you're going to connect with. You don't want to connect with my representative. You want to connect with me. So, and I want to connect with you. And that's true, authentic relationship. So no, if you have to be have a mindset, or talk different when I'm with a Black person than with a white or an Asian person, then are you true to yourself as an individual? So that's an insecurity issue that you would need to work out within yourself. But no, you need to be yourself, no matter who's, like I said before, whoever you're in front of. So if you, as a Christian, if I treat everyone, right, like Christ is there, then I have to, again, that's the image that I want to identify with, and that's who I want to reflect in my conversations and in my behavior, especially in my professional career.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, Miss
You're
Fenton.
welcome. You're
Has been
welcome.
a very good interview. Wow. I feel like I learned a lot.
Well, I'm glad. And please, if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask me, because like I said, I'm always willing, always ready to help someone ask questions. If I don't have the answer, I will let you know. I don't have the answer, but I will try to get the answer for you or point you in the right direction to get the correct answer.
Right.
And that's support.
Right. Thank you.
You
So
are.
before we end, do you have any questions for me?
So actually, I do have some questions for you. So what is this interview going to do for you?
Yes, so I am taking a class at the illustrious Morgan State University.
Yeah,
Um thank you.
you're welcome.
And for one of our assignments in the class, we're doing a leadership vacuum. So we basically interview a well-known leader in society and ask questions. And basically, the class is really about Black politics in general. So we learn about a lot of our own in politics, and
Mhm.
we have like a whole bunch of discussions. Sometimes a little bit of debating within the students in the class. But yes, it's been very insightful.
Good. Listen, enjoy your college career, embrace your colleagues and your college mates, because this is where your life begins. You
Mhm.
know, really, really enjoy it. Meet with as many professional leaders. And remember, when you get to your professional career, where you are right now, right here today, how it was sitting here being interviewing someone. So when someone else interviews you or asks for you to complete that research question, or they have to do the research survey, no, and they could be annoying sometimes, right? Those survey monkeys, but it's for a reason and a cause, and it's to help someone else to further their education and become ambitious and do what they need to do and accomplish. So continue to support each other.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I do have one more question though. It just
Oh,
popped up.
sure, please.
If you had to give your younger self any piece of advice, what type of advice would you give?
Don't quit.
Don't quit.
Don't quit. Don't give up. And my younger self, I would have said to my younger self at 16 to push through there at that HBCU,
Mm,
um, and and do your best.
okay.
Do your best. And don't yeah, I wouldn't have I would have told myself not to leave and force myself to stay there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Wow.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I wish you all the best in your college career
Thank you. I
and all
appreciate
the success. And
it.
if you ever need me, please reach back out to me.
Yes, ma'am. I
It
sure
was a
will.
pleasure.
It was really a pleasure. Thank you